members will recall that both properties have been gazetted for conservation, and SLA is responsible for the maintenance works based on the restoration and conservation guidelines that I mentioned earlier. Let me illustrate what this means with a few examples relevant to the two properties. For the main roof, the original profile, pitch, height, eaves, and projection have to be retained and restored. Owners are required to keep the original roof tile material, color, and profile if it is a unique feature of the building. Structural strengthening or supports like steel or reinforced concrete roof beams, if required to be added, have to be done in a way which is sensitively designed to minimize visual impact on the traditional timber system to be retained. Another example is the architectural features of the building facades. The original fan lights, windows, doors, and vents are to be retained and restored. Internally, owners may be required to keep such original finishes of the internal ceiling, wall, and floor that give a distinctive character to the building. Thus, all works have to be done in a manner which preserves the architectural style and features of the black and white bungalows as defined by URA. And all of this has a significant impact on the cost of the repairs. Therefore, SLA's practice is to engage an external consultant to assess the state of the property and determine the works which have to be done, bearing in mind the relevant conservation guidelines. While these works are done in periodic cycles, where practical, SLA tries to do them in the lead-up to a confirmed tenancy to avoid existing tenants and also to ensure that the cost of these works can be recovered from a prospective tenant. For number 26, SLA engaged a consultant who had experience in dealing with heritage properties to survey the property and identify the necessary works to be done. And I would add that this consultant was engaged before a bid was made for 26 Ridout Road. The works identified by the external consultant were in the nature of structural items such as timber beams, rafters and columns, and other heritage features. Together, this aspect, as assessed by the external consultant, cost about $375,000 out of the total amount of $515,400 incurred by number 26 Ridout Road. A similar building management inspection was also undertaken by an external consultant for number 31 Ridout Road, and the works to be done were identified and proposed by the consultant. This included extensive works to the roof, which was assessed to be in a bad state, as well as for other heritage features. For number 31, these works, as recommended by the consultant, cost around $452,000 out of the total of $570,500 spent on number 31. In addition, SLA also did the usual sprucing up works prior to the commencement of a tenancy. These are the usual works done shortly before the property is handed over to a new tenant to ensure that the property is habitable. For number 26, the works included painting, pest control, and the removal of mould. All of this cost around $140,000. For number 31, the works included general repairs to the staircase, the perimeter of the house, fixing windows, painting, and pest control, and in this case also snake combing. The total cost of these sprucing up works for number 31 cost around $118,000. The works done by SLA were in keeping with SLA's general practices, as I described earlier in my speech.